Good afternoon. In April, we came to you stating we urgently needed help raising $3 million by September 30th, or our reserves would be depleted and CKUA would fall silent. In response, the community quickly stepped up. After the 10 greatest days of grassroots fundraising in CKUA's history, and through continued work with donors, I'm here to announce that we are at $2.5 million towards our $3 million target. While we did not achieve our target by September 30th, we found avenues to bridge the gap during that time. We found new efficiencies in some of our capital costs. We negotiated with our lender to defer payments. And we made additional cuts that risk our ability to continue providing unimpeded service levels across the organization. What's more, we are in continual conversations with several donors that will help see us past the $3 million mark, subject to 4 conditions. 1, that negotiations with our lenders come to a satisfactory conclusion. 2, that the province and the federal government step up to the table. 3, that other significant donors match their contributions. And 4, that you, our listeners, ensure that the fall fundraiser, which starts this Friday, is wildly successful. With this news, we continue pushing forward with cautious optimism. Since April, we haven't stopped. We breathed new life into our broadcast center, increasing tenant occupancy from 50 to 85%. This has added future revenues and community to the building and a boost to Edmonton's downtown recovery. Thanks to CKUA donors, we returned to the summer festival season to maintain a critical touchpoint with the community. Our hosts showcased over 50 festivals and events. We brought you several live broadcasts, interviewed dozens of emerging and headlining artists, and showcased some of the very best of Alberta's vibrant culture scene. With this coverage, you participated in the biggest celebration of festivals and creative gatherings anywhere in the country. And this coverage matters. It matters because when we cover these events, you show up. You collectively spend millions in hard-earned dollars supporting venues, events, artists, and local jobs. You invigorate rural and urban communities across our province. I'll tell you one thing is for sure, this was not happening with commercial media or digital streaming services. That's the power of every single CKUA donor. But that's not all we've done. Because of our donors, we kept our lights on. We weathered hundreds of thousands of dollars in skyrocketing utility bills. We kept people employed. And most importantly, we kept bringing you the hosts and the programs you love without interruption. And behind the scenes, we moved mountains. We completed a year-long $350,000 satellite replacement project. We finished another year-long $100,000 critical broadcast software upgrade. And we spent hundreds of hours redesigning employment standards and accessibility plans pursuant to new federal regulations. For every minute you spent with us, our team worked tirelessly behind the scenes with limited resources to ensure your CKUA experience remained uncompromised. I want to take a minute to acknowledge the incredible commitment of our volunteer CKUA Board of Directors, our staff, our volunteers, and our hosts. For nearly 97 years, the real magic of CKUA has been its people, and I can't think of a more dedicated group who put their best foot forward daily with abundance and determination during such a stressful time. The efforts the CKUA team has undertaken to preserve your listener experience are in stark contrast to what you are seeing in other sectors. We are stretching every dollar, doing what we can to not slash and burn in the short term at the expense of the future, nor to prioritize anyone or anything over the well-being of our team and the artists and the community that we serve. But that commitment to our listeners is a two-way street. The last few months showed that when you are here for us, we can be there for you. Now, I need to be candid with you. While we transition out of the immediate crisis of the past 6 months and look ahead to stability and sustainability in the coming years, many of the challenges that existed in April remain. Affordability and cost increases for CKUA, just like at your home, are persistent and real. Our revenues from tenants in our broadcast center are rebounding, but at significantly lower market prices than they were 2 years ago. Our single biggest risk that we continue to work diligently on is the high cost of borrowing and a lender who is mounting more pressure on us to pay off our building loan. Given all of these factors, and without taking a hatchet to CKUA and significantly altering the very fabric of the service you know, love, and want to support with your hard-earned dollars, we are lean and have very little room for error. Now, I'm not saying this to be alarmist or defeatist. For 2 years, we have been working with our board and various industry professionals, conducting financial modeling and scenario planning, and exploring alternative real estate models. At the same time, by closely monitoring radio, donor-supported media, arts and culture, and economic trends, we can see that we are not alone in our challenges. Like many of your favorite nonprofits, today is our new reality. The admiration and love you and I feel for CKUA, our hosts, and our community exists within the confines of an economy and a modern media environment that doesn't play favorites. Unlike conventional businesses, we can't automatically pass on our cost increases to our customers through price increases. If we want to protect and preserve what we cherish for years to come, we must commit to ambitiously growing our fundraising revenues with the financial support of you, our listeners, and the broader community. To face this new reality head on, we have a plan. It's built on the knowledge that our current 13,000 loyal donors represent a small fraction of our growing listenership. Your collective potential as listeners to fund CKUA based on our new reality is not only necessary, but nearly limitless. In recent months, we've been hard at work elevating and transforming our revenue sources. As a result, our advertising and sponsorship revenues have grown, a trend I'll point out that is the opposite of what is happening in commercial media. Our monthly donors, leadership donors, and 50/50s, as well as our on-air fundraisers, will continue to grow in importance and remain the bedrock of CKUA. Furthermore, in recent months, community and business leaders from across the province have reached out and said, "Hey, how can I help?" Thanks to their generous gifts of time and talent, we are fast-tracking a major gift and legacy giving programming, culminating in a multi-million-dollar capital campaign in advance of our centennial in 2027. People have shown they want to help. We just have to ask in new and different ways. We've been inspired by how everyday Albertans and Canadians and the business community have come forward to help. However, there remain 2 empty seats at the table. While our ongoing conversations with the provincial and federal governments are cordial, they're moving at the speed of government. Again, I invite them to be our partners at this critical point in history. Since 1997, through good times and bad, we have provided a free, non-commercial public good with little government support. Meanwhile, as flash storms and wildfires increasingly threaten our rural communities, I will remind you that our province-wide warning system has been an essential service for Albertans for decades. And at the same time, our commitment to bridging the urban-rural divide is becoming harder and harder to find anywhere in Canada. A one-time commitment of funds that enables us to maintain our independence and reset our course for a sustainable future is all we ask. In so many ways, CKUA is bucking the trend. While traditional radio sees its audiences dropping, ours continue to grow. While their annual revenues have been falling, ours have been modestly improving. And most importantly, while they withdraw from the local communities and artists they serve, we have been using our limited resources to reach out and maintain that vital connection more than ever. To build on this success, we must invest in 5 key areas going forward. First, one of the primary concerns I hear from longtime donors is the need to grow a younger audience who will take on the mantle of supporting CKUA as demographics change. We must continue enhancing our programming, our outreach, and the CKUA experience to reach more people, while simultaneously focusing on the satisfaction of our current audiences. Second, as highlighted by the recent news of our beloved Baba's retirement, investments in recruiting and developing new hosts are critical for CKUA's future. Third, internet and mobile connectivity remains unreliable in many parts of our province. Our transmitter network requires continual upkeep and life cycling to maintain listener connectivity and donor satisfaction. Fourth, studio, broadcast, and digital technology, from soundboards to cybersecurity, are the foundation upon which our hosts rely. We must continually invest in costly replacements and upgrades. And lastly, success in this plan requires investments in the people and skills required to diversify our revenue streams and provide the modern CKUA experience that current and future audiences expect. Now, you might be wondering, will this plan work? Well, what has become clear in the past few months is that the CKUA community has the desire, the passion, and the potential to rise to the occasion. And although this new plan has only been in action for a few months, I'm pleased to say that we are already starting to see positive results in our operations. Now, the next test will be our October fundraiser, which kicks off Friday the 18th, where we know our listeners will once again crush that fundraising goal of $1 million that we have set for this fall. as evidenced by the record-breaking spring fundraiser, which raised $1.8 million in 10 days and generated 1,800 new donors. We know the CKUA community can and will rise to the challenge when asked. My invitation to you today is to join us, both as an ongoing donor and a champion for CKUA. Thousands of you spoke out about the prospect of losing CKUA. For many, losing your favorite radio station, while unimaginable, was only part of the story. CKUA, you told us, is more than radio. It's a meaningful connection. It's a place of belonging, a window into Alberta's cultural scene, and food for your soul. Whatever CKUA means to you, know this: its future is in your hands. Every donation is a show of support that shapes the path ahead. April was our wake-up call. It showed us what we stand to lose if we don't stand up for what we believe in. But it also showed us the incredible power of this community when we come together to do something big. Our path forward is not easy, but it is clear, and it is a path that we can walk together. You've told us we can't stop, and with your help, we won't stop. Let's keep the music playing, the stories flowing, and the cultural heart of Alberta beating strong through the airwaves of CKUA.